wonderful Citroe 2 chevaux, or 2CV, 2 chevaux meaning 2 horses, because the original one that came out in the late 40s had 2 horsepower apparently, so this one's got a few more. This is, I think, a 91 model, one of the last before they stopped being made in the, I think in about 92 or 93. This is one of the, like the Volkswagen of France, the Volkswagen Beetle, designed around the same time. The brief for this vehicle was different to the brief for the Volkswagen. The main brief was that this had to be affordable to the average French farmer, and as far as its performance, some of its attributes were that it had to be able to drive over a freshly ploughed field and not break eggs on the back as the farmer took them on the back seat as the farmer took them to the market. This, like the Beetle, this car really didn't change much. In fact, this car changed less than the Beetle over the time that it was made. The main changes to this vehicle in the 40 or 50 years that it was made was just the engine got a little bigger, and there might have been a few refinements in terms of the windscreen wipers and that sort of thing, but that's about it. Otherwise the car stayed basically the same. There's some really ingenious features about it. One is how easily it is built. It's one of those cars that you can unbolt everything bolts together. It's on a very simple chassis. The engine is a flat twin air-cooled engine, in this case for a later model, so it's a 650cc motor. It'll do about 120 kilometers an hour, or about 65-70 miles an hour. To get to that sort of speed, you probably need to be on the downside of a slope with a bit of wind behind you. It really likes to sit on about 90 kilometers an hour, or about 50 mile an hour. Great features about it. That suspension that allows it to drive over that freshly ploughed field is really ingenious, and it's adjustable so that you can adjust the travel that it has, and that's one of the features here. You can see how high, how much distance you have between here and here. That's adjustable, and the front suspension is connected to the back. So whenever you go over a bump with its true four-wheel independent suspension, one wheel counterbalances with the other. It's quite ingenious. Fuel consumption, I think we drove about 100 kilometers yesterday and put in about 6 litres of fuel. So it's sort of got Prius type numbers. Big difference between this vehicle and the Prius is that the embodied energy that's in this vehicle is substantially less than there would be in a Prius. Let's have a look under the bonnet. Now, this was made back in an era when front-wheel drive cars were really not that common, and it's got some amazing features. I'll just put that back on. That's the exhaust. The exhaust here, you can see the flat twin. There's one cylinder there and another one there. Carburetor on here, ignition coil, alternator is, and starter motor here. It's got 2 inboard disc brakes just here. There's one there and one on the other side. So instead of the disc brakes being out on the wheel hubs, they're actually in close to the motor, meaning that you've got less sprung weight on the hubs. There's the battery there. This is the gear shift right here. I'll show you that in a moment when we go inside. So it kind of just looks like a normal gear shift here, except for this really simple little mechanism, which I'll show you inside. The engine, as I mentioned, is air-cooled. It has this fan that runs on the front that forces air over the engine, but you can see this is a really simple engine bay, very easy to service and doesn't need a lot of servicing. Right here, see this cable that comes here? That's so you can adjust the pitch of the headlights. So the headlights, say if you've got a foggy day, then, and you know, even a lot of modern cars you can't do this with. If you've got a foggy day, from the dash you can turn the screw and put the lights down to the ground so that you've got more visibility at that on a foggy day. A lot of great things. People these days with this vehicle, the main modification that they make to the motor is they'll increase the bore size, which is a fairly common thing in a lot of engines, but otherwise what people do is replace this engine for a BMW motorcycle engine, which is also a horizontally opposed flat flat twin, and they use up to the 1200cc version, which will allow this vehicle to go about 120 miles an hour, which is kind of scary. But it'd be cool on a highway. Everything about this vehicle is very, very mechanical. When I say that, obviously it's mechanical, but it's just, nothing is difficult. You can see that everything is serviceable. Look at the, I mean, they've made everything so that, you know, not much to go wrong. Very simple rubber. This is the fuel tank right here, so it's got a good centre of gravity. The vehicle is extremely light. There's the fuel there, and there's your swimmers. You can see at the back here, even the way all of the seats are done, and they're perishing a bit, but very, very simple work. Just some straightforward vinyl with some springs and these bits of rubber, which give you the suspension in the seat. So while you don't have a lot of, how would I say, like the seats aren't padded, so you don't have a lot of support from the seats. They're quite comfortable. That rubber, and it's sort of like sitting in a deck chair. So very comfortable indeed. All right. Another thing is these are all a cabriolet. So very simple again. You just pull this one side and then the other. And then roll on back.
Et voilà.
Voilà.
A convertible.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Ça va?
Bonjour. Bonjour. Oh. Bonjour. Oh, hello.
So now now she's all open, and it's lovely to drive in that on a sunny day, or even a nice winter's day. It'd be lovely to do that. Let's have a look inside before we go for a drive.
Want to talk about the window?
Oh, I will, yes, good idea. So the window is really simple. The back windows are fixed, you can't do anything about them. The front windows, to get them, there's not, you just push there, kick out and lift up. And then this very simple mechanism here, which again, they're like widgets, just holds in very easily and nicely. Okay. All right, let's go for a little. So this goes in, and that's it.
And then
Nice.
if you're hop in the car and undo it.
Well, if you're in the car and you're driving along, then what you have to do is just put your arm out and just let it drop, and then it closes. Simple as that. Okay. Now, my darling. Plenty of room. You can fit 5 people in here. 4 would be better.
Or a hat.
A hat or 2.
A chapeau.
But she's
A
pretty.
chapeau.
Yeah, she's pretty comfy. All right, this is a newer model, so I'm sure the old ones didn't have the retractable seat belts. Very simple. Again, you can see we're on a sort of a deck chair here. That's really comfortable. What we have, oh, thank you. what we have here, this here, like the old Land Rover, this is your air conditioner. There's one air conditioner, 2 and 3. You just adjust this screw here that opens this vent, which lets the air through there. That's fantastic. This here adjusts so that you've either got cool air coming through or warm air. Those ducts that were on the exhaust, they can come in. Choke, gear shift. These are the lights, indicator, and nothing else. It's very, very, very basic, and the horn, of course.
Cute little French horn.
So remember we looked at before the gear shift in there. It just looks like a normal gear shift like you'd have on the floor, a stick shift. Well, this is the gear shift inside, so it's very simple. So here is neutral, that is reverse, first, then over, second, third, and then fourth. Simple as that. So once you get used to it being here, you've got a lot of room around here, so it's fantastic. Anyway, we'll take it for a spin.
What do you do with all that room around here when you've got it?
What do you mean? It's a bit hot.
Oh, it's a bit hot.
Bit hot.
It's a beautiful hot summer today here in the south of France.
It is. I might have flooded it just then. Ooh, that seems good. That sounds better. There we go. Poor. Yeah, it definitely flooded it. Smell that fuel. Alright, so we'll put her into first. Handbrake off. Off we go. It's kind of like driving a motorbike, if it makes sense. Now we're on a fairly bumpy road with some lovely peaches there. Very beautiful, aren't they? Nice early ones. The ride is really smooth in spite of this road being quite bumpy. But the only thing that's sort of vibrating is the body, because it's fairly thin plate, and the frame, as you can see, is all tubular steel, though the chassis is really stiff because of the ladder frame chassis design. But otherwise it's very smooth as you drive along. So into fourth, back to third. Now she cruises along very nicely. The interesting thing about vehicles like this is, why did they, when you question why did they sell so many, is they were designed for the people, like the Volkswagen. The Volkswagen was a really enduring design and worked really well for a lot of people. Sure, it had a cachet to it ultimately, and still does, as does this one, but really they were designed for the people, and so they were minimalist, reliable, easy to fix, easy to service, and all of those things. And so they stood the test of time. And I still think that today they have a lot of relevance, because these are cars that can get you around quite comfortably. Sure, there's a bit more noise to them. Sure, they don't do 120 miles an hour. They won't tow anything of any circumstance. But if you're looking at getting from A to B, and you're looking at doing it comfortably on a lovely day like this,
and a car that you can fix yourself,
and doesn't use a lot of energy to make, then we're talking about something that's a pretty good thing. And I think it has a really high amount of relevance as a concept, and something that is incredibly rare these days. So folks, the 2 chevaux, the Citroen 2CV. Wonderful vehicle, and thanks to Dominique and Augustin for letting us use this while we're on our Rex trip here in the Perpignan area of southern France. Look at these beautiful plains. What a lovely day. Beautiful light. All right.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.